You want to get into minivan camping, so you go online and everything you see is overwhelming. There's complex electrical systems, custom cabinets, sawdust everywhere. But what if I told you you don't have to do any of that? My setup is capable, it's comfortable, and it's 90% no build. So today I'm finally going to give you the complete tour starting right here in the cockpit. And the reason I wanted to start up front, right where a driver normally sits, is the whole theme of everything I do is keep it simple. And so this is a pretty standard 2015 Toyota Sienna all-wheel drive minivan camper. I haven't really done anything special up front except for adding the scan gauge that I use. This is essentially an OBD2 reader, and when my vehicle is running, this will show me my water temperature, my transmission fluid temperature, alternator voltage, and miles per gallon. And so for me, this gives me peace of mind. If I ever have my check engine light go on, I can hit scan and will tell me any codes that come up with this vehicle. And the next major addition that I added, because this thing has one of those old displays on the radio, I added this phone charger, and I really like this one because it's easy to move. It's held in place by both Velcro, and it has essentially a tape thing there. And so when my phone is attached right here, it's very stable, it's very sturdy, and this allows me to wirelessly charge it while I'm driving. Something else I keep up here in the front is this very simple tire gauge, which happens to be dead. So I guess it's time to replace that little coin CR32 battery or 2032 battery right there in the back. Being able to check my tire pressure off the beaten path is super important, because in my minivan camper, I love to get off the beaten path, go out there, go places where if I have a flat tire, I could be stuck and it would be a long walk to get out. Right down there is also a tire inflator. That thing comes in super handy. I don't normally keep it sitting right there, but I had to use it recently for something else I was doing on my other channel. But I also keep this passenger seat intact and just that back third row seat. So total in my minivan, I can carry myself and 2 passengers. So up here, it's 100% daily driver, but the keep it simple magic isn't about what's up in the cockpit. It's about what isn't in the back seat. Let me show you. This is the foundation of my van right here. And this is the 10% that I say is from no build to build, because removing the rails in this passenger side was a little bit of a challenge. It wasn't anything that I don't think that anybody else can't handle, but you do have to get under the vehicle, remove a few bolts, and then remove a few bolts from the top as well. But once those rails are out, I'm able to put my knees right here when I get in and out. Sometimes I like to get in, crawl around, maybe I'm getting changed, something like that. This makes it super useful. And as I'm showing you guys my setup, I want to know about yours. I know some of you have some brilliant ideas out there. So what is your number one most important or favorite item, must-have item for minivan camping? Let me know in the comments. You can pause the video or just keep watching and type as you watch. Now my carpet here does happen to be getting just a little dirty, but this is it's an entryway, like a commercial carpet, and I did cut it to fit. You can probably recognize some of that plastic edging there, but the way I made it fit was I cut it to shape. I did trim off a little more than I should have right here. I wish I had measured that a little better, but then I also poked some holes in the floor so that the seat could fit in here no problem securely, so that this passenger will have their seat belt fully secured back here, but they'll also have this comfortable floor if they need to take off their shoes. I don't 100% remember the dimensions of the carpet, but I do think it was a 5 foot by 6 foot. And so the reason that's important is on this side, it doesn't actually go all the way across the length of the van, but it does go from the front of the van back to where my passenger area is. If I decided to remove this seat later, that would mean that I would probably need a longer carpet, but this carpet for now is sufficient for my uses. So my semi-build floor plan gives me total flexibility. I can move anything I want around up in the front. I do have these 2 rails. They are separated on the driver's side. Those ones are a little more difficult to remove. I would have to drop the fuel tank. So I opted to leave those in because I'm covering that with the answer to the #1 question that I almost always get in all of my camping videos: where and how do I sleep? This bed is actually pretty interesting. I'm not gonna pull the blanket and the sheet off, but it's an adjustable mattress. That's the extreme high angle, but one of the reasons that I bought this thing was I did consider at some point taking this chair out, and if I took this chair out, then I would be able to use this as an alternate location for me to comfortably rest. This thing was about $100 on Amazon. It is a little narrow. I'm about 5'10", I'm 5'9", and I am around 200 pounds, and I do fit on it perfectly. It is a little narrow, so if I'm rolling on my side, maybe my knee will slide off a little bit, or maybe my hands will hang off. So I have found ways with like these extra pillows to manage that, but that is a massive consideration because my prior bed was 30 inches wide, and that extra 5 inches goes a long way in a no-build minivan camper bed. And the other main component of my bed is, of course, this Haley Outdoors bed frame. I love this bed frame, and the #1 reason I love it is every one of the legs have their own adjustable height. So if I want to set it to a certain height, I can get in there, customize each leg individually, and set it and forget it, and that is perfect. And by the way, this is a great place to store my cutting board. It's just out of the way. If I need it, I can get it. Otherwise, I just pull my blanket down and sleep comfortably. It doesn't really give me too much of a hump right here, so it's not something I notice while I'm sleeping. So right here I have an electric blanket that I have used for the last few months. It's been fall, but now as winter is coming, I'm probably gonna pull out one of my larger sleeping bags. One of the main topics I'm always talking about is staying comfortable while you're minivan camping. If you're not comfortable, you're not gonna enjoy it. And the best way to stay comfortable is to have the appropriate level or layer of sleep system. This blanket is almost on the edge. We're gonna get our first freeze tonight, and I feel like even with that heated blanket, I will definitely have to add another layer to retain the heat that this blanket is creating, or just go with a better sleeping bag. And you folks that already know me know that for me, comfort is king, and so I will use throughout the winter a diesel heater. I have some of those electric HVAC systems that I also use, but the diesel heater is by far the best and most efficient way to stay warm in the winter, but it comes with that expense or that caveat of you either need gas or diesel fuel to keep it going and a small battery to run the heat ignition process. This is really my kitchen area. I've got my mini fridge, my microwave, and my coffee maker, as well as this water dispenser that I just recently picked up. I was actually pretty happy with this because I bought that at Walmart, and it came with a coupon for a free jug, although it came with a circle jug and I wanted a square jug. So I have a circle jug that I don't truly need. But you'll notice my coffee maker is right here on the floor, and I left it there on purpose because it usually resides right here. And in fact, this is the bungee that I usually have it secured to, but I went around a curve a little too fast the other day, and the coffee maker flew out. And because of that, I can't find the little piece that goes right there. So although the coffee maker still works perfectly fine, one of the things that you have to watch out for these no-build minivan camper conversions is all of this stuff. If you don't have it tied down, it is absolutely a hazard, especially if you get in an accident. And so one thing that you will notice with my build is I am always keeping things below head level. It's still a risk. So the best way to manage all of this is to get maybe a few straps, strap things down with real straps, not bungee cords. As you saw with my coffee maker, it's not the best way to keep those things secured. Now, for the most part, I am not too worried about getting in an accident, but it's not necessarily me that I'm worried about. It's other random things, maybe perhaps a deer or just a distracted driver ruining your day. And that's something that, you know, in these kind of camper conversions, you always want to keep in mind. So something you're going to see right here in the back of my van is, of course, my carbon monoxide detector. Surprisingly, this is one of the most controversial topics of minivan camping. I keep it in there. I never keep my vehicle running. Sleeping in an idling vehicle is probably the most dangerous thing you can do while you're minivan camping. Hey, if your vehicle's 100% tip-top shape, you may not have a problem. And the sad reality is it's extremely dangerous, and you don't want to wake up dead because you were trying to stay a little bit warmer. If you're too cold, get better blankets, find a better way to sleep. but don't leave your vehicle running. It is absolutely dangerous. I have two main sources of power in my minivan camper. Number one, I have this EcoFlow Delta 3 Plus. One disadvantage of this one is as it's getting colder, if this thing gets exposed to below freezing temperatures, it will not charge. I do have a different battery that I'm gonna put in here that is cold rated, but either way, when it gets cold, lithium batteries, even sodium batteries in general, are somewhat of a hassle to maintain a charge and keep working. Now, I primarily use that EcoFlow power station to power my microwave, run my coffee maker, and it's hooked up to the Bluetti Charger 1, which is hooked up to my alternator or my battery under my hood. Not a super complicated job, but something that is a little more in that build category than the no build theme of this video. So I'm not gonna really deep dive into that today. So really what I've shown you today is essentially my living room here in the minivan camper, obviously my sleeping room, and then my kitchen. I really try to keep this thing simple. All this stuff can come out probably in about 20 or 30 minutes. I can store it. I can even add the seats that are missing besides the ones that go on this rail if I truly need to. And that allows me to quickly convert this van either into a 5-passenger vehicle or a nice cargo hauler. So one of the main themes of this video is keep it simple. You don't have to remove your floor rails. They are obnoxious if they are in there. If you have a Sienna, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You don't need this fancy bed. With the third row seat stowed, this Sienna, this third generation Sienna, is sufficiently flat that if you put a cot in there, that will be plenty for you to sleep comfortably. And in fact, the van is a little off-centered. I think it slants forward, downwards just a little bit. And so you're never gonna truly have a level floor in this vehicle anyway. And then the last thing is you don't need the fridge, you don't need the coffee maker, you don't need the microwave. All you really need is the things that you might want to stay absolutely comfortable. Comfortable blanket, comfortable pillow, maybe a small gas stove, something like that. But all that other stuff is just really extra, potentially even excess if you're not gonna go for more than 1 or 2 nights minivan camping. And if you've watched the video this far, you get it. You absolutely probably know what I'm talking about. So please consider subscribing. This channel is dedicated to minivan camping adventures, and really just the stuff that makes it enjoyable. Well guys, I'm out of time, and so I haven't been able to cover everything in today's video. So if you have anything you want me to cover in my next video, let me know, and I will have that video right here where we will be going minivan camping, and I will answer any of your questions about my setup and anything else you want to discuss. Let me know, and I will catch you on my next adventure. Keep it simple.